morning, Mr. Sprague. Back at it again with the homeroom math. Welcome back, my friends. This is Mr. Sprague coming to you from the OHS math department up in room F215, bringing you the second ever homeroom math lesson for geometry. Now, I apologize for not having more math for you in your homeroom classes for the past few weeks. Things have been kind of crazy with the schedule and everything, a lot of assemblies, and just hasn't quite worked out. But we should be seeing math in our homeroom classes just about every single week going forward, now that things are starting to get a little bit back to normal. Today's talking about percentages. Now, the first thing we need to remember about percentages is that there's nothing greater than 100%. Now, we know it's possible that we can get 100 and something percent, 110% on a test, for example, and that's great, and that means we did really well. We got some extra credit or whatever it is. However, theoretically or realistically, that's just not possible. We can't have 110% of M&Ms. That just doesn't make any kind of sense. So when we're talking about percentage, everything is out of 100. So when we see the word 75%, we're really thinking of the fraction 75 out of 100. Now, I know we don't like these fractions, but I promise you, thinking about these percentages in this kind of fashion here is going to make things a little bit easier to solve these types of problems. Now, we're thinking 90% is 75, or 90 is 75% of what number? So when we think of the word of, we're thinking of a portion of a larger number. So of what number? So this 90 of what number? We're thinking 90 of or over x. Now, when I wrote it like this, I'm actually writing what we call a proportion. If we think about a proportion, it's really easy to solve, and we do that by cross-multiplying. Cross-multiplying is a super easy way, and guess what? Now our fractions are going to be out of this problem. So when I multiply 75 times x, cross-multiplying takes the numerator over here, multiplies it with the denominator, equals to vice versa, the denominator here times the numerator over here. So when I multiply 75 times x, I get 75x. When I multiply 100 times 90, I get 9,000. Well, now all I've left to do is divide both sides by 75 so I can isolate x. And that leaves me with, here, x equals 9,000 divided by 75 is a nice even 120. So reading back to this sentence, 90 is 75% of 120. That's absolutely true. If I had 120 points possible on a test, I got 90 points out of those, then that means I got a 75% on that test. Now the next question says, what is 75% of 90? Now you're thinking, well, isn't that the same question you just asked me? And the answer is no. I'm not asking you the same question. They might be the same numbers, but this is not the same question. So again, we're seeing 75%, so I'm thinking that's 75 out of 100. But now here we see of 90. Of, again, means the larger portion, so we're thinking 90 is my larger number, and I'm missing something here. So if I crisscross these, again, cross-multiplying, 90 times 75 turns out to be 6,750. 100 times x, well, it's just 100x. And then if I divide both sides by 100, that leaves me with x, which is 67.5. Let's see. 67.5 is 75% of 90. That's absolutely true. Last one, for problems numbers 1, 2, and 3, we have 75 is what percent of 90. So we see what percent of 90, we're missing the percentage. So we know we have 100% of something, and we're looking for the percentage, so I'm looking for x out of 100. And then again, 75 is what percent of 90. So when I see the word of, I know that that means I'm looking to divide by 90. And all I'm left with is 75. So 75 out of 90 is what percent out of 100. So we're crisscrossing these again. So that leaves me with 90x, and then 75 times 100 is 7,500. Divide both sides by 90, and my final answer turns out to be x equals 83.3, which means that my answer, 75, is 83.3, sorry, that's 83.3 repeating, 83.333% of 90. Now for the last one, we're just taking these problems, the exact same idea, numbers 1, 2, and 3 here, and we're just putting them into context form. I just want you to know these numbers are pretty accurate. There's about 1,500 students here at Oneonta High School. There are About 14% of our student population are in band. The question here is, what is the total number of students in band? If 14% of them are in band, how many students are there total in band? So I'm not going to go through this solution, or through how we got the solution, but the solution is, in this case, there are 210 students in band. Surprisingly, that's a pretty accurate number. Number 5, if there are approximately 165 students in football, what percent of students play football? Same idea, we're just working this problem in a different fashion, maybe like number 1, 2, or 3 up here. This answer turns out to be about 11% of students play football. And last one for number 6, we see at Itanio High School, that's Oñate spelled backwards in case you didn't get that, 48% of students ride the bus, 852 total students ride the bus. The question is, how many students are there total at Itanio High School? My answer here is 1,775 students in total. All right, thanks a lot, my friends. I hope you learned something. We'll see you next time.